Sirens, Slammers, and Service, a podcast for female first responders by female first responders. My name is Nikki Cloutier, and I will be your host. As a former correctional officer in Alberta for almost 2 decades and the founder of Blue Line Fitness Testing, which provides law enforcement fitness testing and first responder wellness workshops, I started this podcast as a way for female first responders to share the trials, tribulations, and triumphs of their daily work. I want to showcase the unique perspectives, skill sets, and personalities that women bring to a first responder career and share their stories. So get ready to laugh your ass off, learn a whole bunch, and be inspired by some pretty badass women. Let's go. Welcome back, guys. Today, you get to listen to me, just me, myself, and I. But I have a phenomenal topic that I want to share with you, and it basically is applicable to anybody that is a first responder or that wants to become a first responder. Today, we are talking about our top 5 recruiting tips. So these are tips for people looking to get into the career, people looking to potentially change careers, people looking to change to different agencies, depending on where they're at and what they're looking to do with their careers. These tips come, if you've listened to a bunch of our other episodes, you will have heard from so many of our female first responders about, different tips that they have, different things that recruiters look for. So I'm just going to sum them basically all up in this podcast, make it an easy one-stop shop for you to make sure that you're fully prepared when you're looking to get into the career or change the career. So our top 5 recruiting tips. Number 1, do your research. Know if this is the job for you. So not just researching and saying, yeah, I want to be a police officer. What police agency do you want to work with? They are all totally different. So is it Lethbridge? Is it Grand Prairie? Is it Camrose? Is it Edmonton? Is it Calgary? Is it, where is it the RCMP? Look at the agencies that you want to work at. Look at the cities or the locations that you could be posted to. Do your research. If you're looking into peace officer positions, look at the municipalities. Look at what, look at what the municipality is like to work for. Do your research on the job. If you're looking to get into corrections, do you want to be in federal corrections? Do you want to be dealing with 2 years plus a day sentenced offenders? Or do you want to be working provincial corrections where you're dealing with guys that are 2 years less a day sentenced or remanded offenders? Totally different. Yes, a correctional officer is the job, but completely different roles, responsibilities, dynamics within the jails. So you want to make sure that you're doing your research. Right now, I say this all the time, it feels like people are just taking darts and kind of just winging them willy-nilly at a law enforcement dartboard and hoping to hit something. So they're applying to be a peace officer, they're applying to be corrections, sheriffs, border patrol, police. They put applications into all of these fucking places and they have no fucking clue about the actual job. The other thing that we're seeing all the fucking time is people see the wage that a first responder makes, and I know we can all bitch and say that we don't get paid enough for what we do, and some days that is true, but I will say, and I've said it before, we are well compensated. We are well compensated. If you look at, where we're at on the scale of pay compared to other jobs, first responders are well compensated. We have overtime opportunities coming out the fucking wazoo right now. So if you want to work OT, you can work your fucking ass off and you can make bank, right? We have benefits. We're usually government jobs. So you've got benefits, you've got WCB, you've got paid sick days, you've got paid lunches, you've got, if you've never worked anywhere else, believe me when I say it's fucking cushy. It's fucking cushy. If you go and work, for a construction company, you go and work somewhere else, you get your 2 15-minute coffee breaks, you get your 30-minute lunch, and it is what it is, and you're here at this time and you end at this time. There's no rolling in a little bit late. Oh shit, sorry. Oh, my kid was sick, so I need a sick day. You can take a sick day, you don't get fucking paid for it, right? So people are seeing those benefits and they're saying, I want that. But they're not doing the research on what the job entails, on what the shifts are going to be like, on how that work-life balance is going to play out. If you have young kids, do you have childcare? Do you have childcare that's going to be available 24/7? Or do you have a spouse that's supportive of you going into this first responder career? Or are they going to hate the fact that you're gone for every birthday, every holiday, weekends, evenings, that your shift schedule is all over the place, right? So do your research. The other thing you want to really delve into is why. Why do you want to do this job? Why do you want to be a first responder? Because it has happened, again, multiple times over the podcast episodes where we talk about those ebbs and flows of your career. We talk about, the high of when you first get hired and it's so exciting and you love it and this is awesome. And then you hit that low of like, holy fuck, this is reality. This is what I'm dealing with all the time. This isn't all the glitz and glamour and the lights and the car chases and everything that I thought it would be. So you need to delve into why you truly want to do this job. Do you truly, deep inside, want to do this job because you want to help people? Do you truly want to do this job because you love uncertainty, you love chaos, you thrive in it, you want to have every day be totally different and, and be kind of pushed to your limits and have to do new things and try new things every single day? What is your why behind wanting to be a first responder? And that has to be solid. That has to be rock fucking solid. Because when shit gets really hard in your career, if you don't have that true why you're doing this job or why you're in this career, you will very quickly burn out. You will very quickly burn out. You will lose that kind of love for the job. You will lose that excitement for that career. And so you need to be rock solid in your why. So the number one, guys, number fucking one, do your research. The internet is like amazing. You can research so many things. Fucking Google, right? Talk to people that are in the job. Go on ride-alongs. Ask people. And like, again, don't feel like, oh, well, I don't know anybody that, works that municipality, or I don't know anybody that is a paramedic, so I don't know how. Fucking grow a set and fucking reach out and ask, right? The worst they can say is no. If they say no, okay, fine. You fucking try again, right? But do your research. Make sure that you know exactly what you are getting yourself into. You know exactly the commitment that you need to make to this job, to this career, to this way of life. Because again, living as a first responder, it's a way of life. It's not just a career. I say all the time, don't let it become your identity, but it does shape how you live your life. Absolutely, it does. Shift work does that to people. So know what you're getting into. Do that research. Make sure that you are fully aware of exactly what is coming your way. And then also future opportunities, right? A lot of people make the jump real quick from, one first responder to a career to another, or from one peace officer agency to the other. Oh, there's more opportunity there. Well, there might be opportunity right in that one spot, but is there opportunity to further your career? Are there new opportunities that you're going to, get a chance to try? Or are you going to go to a new agency and then just be stuck doing the same fucking thing in a different town? And maybe that's fine. Maybe that's what you're looking for. You just need a change of scenery, or you need a different leadership team, or you need a different, team of coworkers. Maybe that's what you need. But if it's just going to take the same shit and put it in a different location, are you going to be any happier in making that jump? So make sure, really, truly think it out. Write out the pros and cons. Be fully educated in your decision before you take that leap into the first responder career. Again, look and see, are there educational requirements? I talked about this when we had our fish and wildlife officers on, Kim and Dana and Therese. A lot of people want to be a fish and wildlife officer, and they get into the process, and then they realize when they're already in the process that you need that degree in biological sciences or conservation, and they don't have it, and they've already decided this is where they want to go, right? That's a fucking basic thing that you can learn about, right? Research these jobs. Know what's expected of you. Know what the certifications are. Know how long it's going to take you to get those certifications. I mean, like, again, if it means you need to do a 4-year degree, well, if you're just getting out of high school, now's the time to start fucking looking at that. Do you have the prerequisites to get into the classes that you need to at university? If you're an adult and you need to go back to school to get a criminal justice diploma or a police studies diploma, are your high school marks good enough? Can you get into college? Can you pay for it? Right? These are all things that you need to take into consideration. And a fucking lot of people are not doing their research and jumping in and then realizing partway through, after they've invested a ton of time and energy into the process, that this isn't for them and that they need to get the fuck out. Again, a blue line, we see it all the time when they hit the physical standards, which we're going to talk about next. But when they hit the physical standards and they realize, like, oh, fuck, I can't, it's not just standing around in a uniform like it is if you're a Garda or Paladin or, you know, one of the mobile guys that drives around and checks buildings. Like, it's a total different fucking level of law enforcement. And the fitness that is required to pass those tests is a totally different level. So if you're not ready to do that, if you haven't done the research to realize, holy shit, there's a big fitness test that I need to do, again, that's on you. You should have done that research. You should know what you're getting yourself into. So number 1 tip, do your research. Number 2 tip, again, this one, we're going to harp on this. I'm going to fucking harp on this one to the ends of the earth. Have your shit together, okay? Have your shit together. This means your application, your certifications, your resume, your cover letter, okay? All of these things, before you see the postings, before you even start looking at fucking postings, because you should have done your research, you should know exactly what is required for the job that you want. Or if you're looking again at multiple agencies or multiple different places, you should know exactly what's required, and you should be going and getting those things before you put your fucking application in, okay? Do not, I fucking stress this so much, do not be the dickhead that is halfway through the process and then realizes, oh my God, I need my first aid and it's expired. Oh, where can I get a first aid course? Oh my God, I need my pair and I'm not fucking anywhere close to being fit enough to pass my pair. Okay? Do not be that dickhead. Be fucking prepared. Working as a first responder requires you to be prepared. That is like literally 90% of our job is being prepared for all fucking eventualities. If you can't be prepared in applying for this job, you are giving me as a recruiter zero fucking confidence in your ability to do this job. Zero fucking confidence, okay? So have your shit together. So look ahead. Do you need standard first aid and CPR or intermediate first aid and CPR is what it's called now? Yeah, 90% of first responder, 99% of first responder jobs require you to have that. So get it. It's valid for 3 years. Go get it. Have it under your belt. That way you have it whenever you want to apply, it's ready to go. Do you require special schooling? Do you need a certificate, a diploma? Do you need 2 years of related schooling or work experience? If you are a new person that is just deciding this is what you want to do, know that, because you can apply anywhere you want and get frustrated that you're not getting interviews, get frustrated that you're not getting called back. You don't have any of the relevant experience or education. So figure that out. If you need that education, figure out how you need to get into schooling to get that done. If you need that experience, start looking at base level security jobs, loss prevention, again, Garda, Paladin, companies like that that are going to give you the experience that you need, right? City of Edmonton parking enforcement is another one that you could do. All of these base level security jobs will give you the experience that you need, the relevant 2 years experience that you need to apply for the majority of law enforcement positions, right? If you're looking into paramedics, if you're looking into fire, do you need to have your 1001s? Do you need to have, right, for paramedics, you're going to need to have your base level primary care paramedic, I believe it is, or your EMR, it used to be called, right? What is that going to take? How much is it going to take for you to go to school? Get those certifications sorted out. Again, I'm going to harp on it. If there's a fitness test requirement for almost every single, actually, I'm going to say every single first responder career has a fitness test requirement. Military has a fitness requirement. Fire has a fucking extremely strenuous physical requirement. Paramedics, there's a physical fitness test. It's pretty easy, but also be prepared for it. Law enforcement, everybody in law enforcement, there's multiple different fitness tests. COPAT, POPAT, SOPAT, PAIR, APREP, the new RCMP personal fitness assessment, right? There's always going to be a fitness test requirement for a first responder career. So know that. Start training before you even apply, because you don't want to be that person that gets partway through the process and then cannot pass the fitness test, and that's why you don't get the job. Again, I do multiple posts on this all the time on our socials. I harp on it and all the time in our podcast. If you listen, you're probably like, yes, that's Nikki, we know. But for those of you that don't know, I'm telling you this right now, start getting fit now before you even apply. Resume and cover letter. This is huge, guys. You have to make sure that those resumes and cover letters are not just a stock resume that you use for every single job. Each job that you apply for, your resume should be tailored to that specific job posting. Your cover letter shouldn't just be a stock, dear hiring manager, I am applying for this job because I want to be a law enforcement officer. No. At Blue Line, again, we do interview prep, we do resume and cover letter edits. I will do that work for you. I will go through it with you. I am vicious. I'm like the worst teacher you've ever seen with my red pen and my Google Doc markups. But I'm going to get you through, and I'm going to get you screened in. I can promise you that if you trust me with that. If you are, like, I got this, I'm going to do it on my own, make sure that you have tailored that cover letter and you have tailored that resume to the specific job that you're posting or that you're applying for. Go through the job posting. Pick out the keywords that they're looking for in there. Those should be your skills. That should be your objective. Again, you should know about this job because you would have already done step number 1, which is do your research. So you should know what they're looking for. Tailor your resume and your cover letter, highlighting your skills and your past experience that match that specific job. Not just a job as a first responder or a job in law enforcement. It is super important that you do this so that you get screened in. That's like the first stage of even moving through the process is getting even screened in, right? When you're filling out your application, if it's, like a form typed application, spelling, grammar, basic fucking writing skills are necessary, guys. Again, if you are new to Canada, if English is not your first language, get help to do this. Make sure that when you're putting your first foot in the door with these people, you're setting a good example. You're making a good impression. The last thing you want is to put a resume through that has spelling mistakes, grammar mistakes, the wrong word is being used. I saw one the other day, instead of career, it said carrier objective. Like, again, these are basic things, guys. Have somebody who is very fluent in English review that stuff for you if you are questioning whether or not you're using the right words or if your grammar or your spelling are correct. Very important. The other thing that you need to make sure that you do not do, and I can't believe that I actually have to give this tip, is this is your application. This is your career. This is your job. Do not have your mother, girlfriend, wife, spouse, significant other fucking call the recruiters, put your application in for you, follow up for you, book your testing for you, okay? And again, you'll see here, this podcast is for female first responders, so I don't know how many men are listening, but you'll notice that they always default to the woman in their life to organize their lives. If you are the wife, spouse, girlfriend, mom, fucking stop doing this for them. Stop doing it. Because you are just enabling these people to be useless tits in this job. Yes, I'm harsh. Absolutely. I'm also fucking right. If your son, husband, boyfriend, spouse, significant other cannot get his own shit organized to book his own shit, write his own resume, write his own cover letter, fill out his own fucking application, A, what the fuck are you doing with him? B, it's on him. He needs to do that work. And I hear all the time, oh, well, he's busy working. Well, does he want to keep working at his $10 an hour job, or does he want this job? Because if I wanted the job that I'm going for, I would be putting all my fucking priority and time into getting that job. So maybe the person you're with needs to be doing that instead of you doing it. Okay? So again, I will fucking be harsh to the ends of the earth about this. It is, and you've heard it. If you listen to the podcast, you've heard it from multiple people. Our number one step, do not have these people call for you, book for you, ask to follow up. I've also heard of spouses or wives calling to ask if their husband can have a job. Can you give my husband a job? Are you fucking kidding me? I would blacklist that guy so fucking fast. I'd be like, absolutely not. Actually, thank you for cementing in my mind that we will not be hiring your husband. Have a great day. Okay? So that's a huge one, guys. Have your shit together. You're a grown-ass motherfucking adult. Okay, rant over. Bringing it back down a little bit. Number 3 tip, interviews. This is a huge part again. So you've gone through the application process. Again, if you're going for police, maybe you've written your APCAT. Maybe you've ran your fitness test, your APREP or your PAIR or your COPAT. You're now moving into that interview stage. Huge. This is the mistake that a lot of people do make as well, is they look at the job and they go, okay, I'm going to go for that job because I want that wage and I just got to pass the interview and I'm going to get the job. And they don't think about all the other fucking things that you need to do along the way, right? So yes, interviews are key. There's a lot of things to remember for the interviews. Depending on the agencies that you're applying for, there could be multiple interviews. So there could be panel style interviews, which are like your typical job interviews where you're going through, what do you know about this job, or what's your strengths, what's your weaknesses. They'll give you situational questions, things like that. We'll talk about those. There could be personal disclosure interviews. So again, if you're going for police, these are your background interviews before you're getting into your polygraph or your psych tests, right? So who are you? What have you done in your past? What personal disclosure do you need to share with the agency that you're applying for? There could be, again, psych-based interviews. So now you've had an interview with the panel, and now you also have to have a psychologist interview. So you're interviewing with a psychologist to talk about mental health and choices that you make under stress and duress and trauma and things like that. So different styles of interviews. Again, preparation for these is key. Do not think that, I've gone through a couple interviews, I can fucking wing it, I'm good to go. Every single time you interview, you should be preparing appropriately for it, which again means you're going back, you're reviewing the research that you should have already done on this job, so you know exactly about this specific job, this specific agency or town or municipality or role within that agency that you're applying for. You should know what they do on a day-to-day basis. Again, this is where it can come in really handy. If you know somebody that works in the industry, you can talk to them, you can go on ride-alongs, you can get that experience. If you don't know somebody, that's fine. Again, Google can be your best friend and can help you out with a lot of that. Do your research about the job. Make sure that you're ready. STAR format. Again, if you don't know what STAR format is, Google it. It's the #1 interview kind of style for most agencies now, most law enforcement, basically most jobs now use STAR format. They're going to ask you the questions. They want to know what the situation was. They want to know what the task was. They want to know what actions you took, and they want to know what the result is, right? So that's STAR, like, broken down really quick and easy. Again, look into it more. Every single one of your examples that you give needs to be extremely specific. If you give vague answers, if you gloss over things, if you don't break down the who, what, where, when, why, how, what happened in your examples, chances are you're getting deferred. You're just not being specific enough. We're not able to determine from your answers if your skill set actually matches the job, right? Be prepared in dress and deportment. Again, it blows my mind that I have to tell people this, but there's a lot of people that don't know that you're supposed to get dressed up for an interview. You should be clean shaven, hair like done, makeup on if you're a girl, wearing business clothes, like suit and tie for the boys. Women, you should be wearing like business attire, no low cut tops. We're not going to the bar here, people. We're going for a fucking job interview. If you're doing it virtual, make sure there's nothing in your background that's distracting when you're doing a virtual interview. You should be like basically against a blank wall behind you. If there's something on your wall that could call into question your integrity, your values, right? If you've got some random fucking poster that you think is funny hanging behind you, a recruiter might not find that poster funny, or they might not find, your taste in music appropriate, right? Like, these are all things, again, you're being judged. When you go into interviews, you're being judged. So be prepared for that. Dress for the occasion. Make sure that you're on time. Oh my God. Don't be late for the interview, right? Make sure, again, if you're doing virtual, your Wi-Fi is good. You're not on your phone in your car trying to hotspot off of somewhere, sitting outside of McDonald's where there's going to be noise around you, right? If there's, like for corrections, there's a timed written component. Make sure that your computer works, that Word is up to date. It's not going to update in the 30 minutes that you need to do the freaking written assignment, or it's going to drop and then you're not able to submit that written assignment. You're going to get deferred. These are all things, again, when we talk about being prepared. that you need to do to make sure that you have the best shot at it when you're in the interview. Again, body language, huge in interviews, right? Be looking at the interviewers. Be confident in your tone. Take a little, breath before you answer. Make sure you fully listened to the question that the recruiters are asking. I'd say my number one pet peeve as a recruiter is when I don't even finish the question that I'm asking and somebody has already cut me off and started to answer. Not only does that show complete disrespect to the recruiter, to the person that's asking you the question, it also tells me that you don't fucking listen, and I don't want you to work for me if you don't fucking listen. Because what happens if the last part of the question that I was asking changes your answer, or should have changed your answer, and you missed it because you're talking over me, or because you're just in such a hurry to answer the question, right? So let the recruiter completely finish their question. Even if you already know the answer, even if you already have a fucking stellar example that you want to share with the recruiter, let them finish what they're saying, take a little breath, and then roll into your example and share that example. I statements are also super important. And again, at Blue Line, we do interview prep, so we break this down even more for you. We go through sample questions. We do have a full PDF booklet of sample questions. There's over 40 sample questions that can be asked in your interviews that you get to keep. We have webinars and things like that. But a key one is I statements. So when the recruiters are asking you, can you give us an example of a time when you did this and this? We want to know what you specifically did in that role. Not what your team did, not what you and your partner did, not what you and your supervisor did, but what you specifically did in that situation. What actions did you take? What reasoning did you use to make that decision? What was the result that you created, right? So I statements. I did this. I did that. I did this. Obviously, you need to kind of temper that with not coming across like you are a one-man rodeo and you took the, reins in your hand and you didn't consult with anybody or work with your team.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, wanted to pop on here before we got into this next episode and let you know about a couple new rad ideas that we have for the podcast. So the first one is we have a survey up, and I would love to know what you guys think about the show. I'd love your feedback. I'd love your ideas for the next season, and I'd just love to know what you like and what you dislike about the podcast. And I'm going to sweeten the deal with a $50 gift card randomly drawn from everybody that completes the survey. The survey is going to be in the show notes of all of our shows, so no matter what time you start listening to the podcast at, you'll get a chance to win that gift certificate. The second thing that we're bringing in now is the ability for you guys to leave us a voicemail. You guys can actually call into the show, leave us a voicemail, let us know what you think about the show. If you have a funny story you'd like to share from your time as a first responder, I would love those and showcase those on the show as well. So make sure you guys check out that voicemail feature. It's going to be in the show notes, and check out the survey. Make sure you get that chance to win that gift certificate.
But we definitely want to know what specific role you played in that situation or in that example or in that scenario. So interviews, super freaking important part of it. Again, it comes down to preparation. Be prepared for when you go in, know what you're applying for, know about the agency, know about the specifics of that job within that agency, right? Not just, I'm applying to be a police officer. Okay, well, what city, what location, what departments does that police agency have? Like, again, we were interviewing with Lethbridge, Molly and Allie, and all the different things that they have down there, that's different than what EPS has. It's different than what CPS has. It's different than what Camrose has. So know about the specific roles. Know the questions that they're going to ask you and have examples ready. What you can do right now, if you haven't even started applying, is start to keep notes on, when something crazy happens at work or you have a really crazy conflict situation that you were able to resolve, make a little note for yourself. Leave a note on your phone, text it to yourself, email it to yourself, whatever you need to do to remember that situation so that when you get ready for the interview, you don't have to sit down for 2 weeks before and start thinking, oh my God, when did I have to deal with this? And when did I have to do this? And when did I have to do this, right? You're going to have that kind of store of examples and stories that you can utilize in your examples in these interviews. So number 3, again, being prepared for the interview. Number 4 tip. This one is huge, especially if you're moving into a law enforcement career. Be honest, be transparent, okay? If you lie during your application process, if you lie during the interview, if you lie during your personal disclosure, we will find out. We will find out. Like, I don't understand why people do this. It blows my mind. And maybe you've heard of like the unicorn that lied and got through, but like 98% of people that lie on their applications, we find out. We know, right? Omission is also still a lie, just not telling us. That's the same thing as lying. Eventually, we're going to find out, and it's going to impede you. You're going to be deferred. You're going to be deferred potentially for life, depending on the agency and what their deferral process is, right? Ange Tetley, Calgary Police, in our very first season, talked about, lying is the worst thing because they give you multiple opportunities to come clean. So maybe you lied about it on like the very first application. Well, then they give you an opportunity to come clean on your personal disclosure. Then they give you an opportunity to come clean on your interview. Then they gave you an opportunity to come clean on your polygraph. So then you chose to lie and deceive 3 to 4 additional times, which doesn't just show that you're a liar. It shows that your morals and ethics allow you to lie and deceive, which is not somebody that we want working in law enforcement, right? So be honest in your answers. It is better to be honest and come clean and have them go, okay, yeah, well, we actually have 5 other people that have also done that, so all good. Do you still do that? Or, have we learned from that? How current is that? Yes, you may still get deferred. I am not saying by coming clean that you're going to sail through the recruiting process and they're going to go, okay, sure, it's totally fine that you do coke every weekend, right? I'm not saying that. You probably will get deferred, but at least you'll know that you were honest with it. And the next time you apply, if you do apply, that's not going to be hanging over your head. They're going to know about it, and they're going to hopefully know that you've learned and moved on from that. You've grown up, right? Maybe you did something stupid in your late teens or early 20s, and now you're in your late 20s, and you've learned and you've grown and you've become a totally different person than you were at that stage in your life. That should happen. We should be learning and growing as we get older. But maybe that's just the way that you needed to learn. And they're going to see that. So being honest, being transparent. The other part of that being honest is if you have other jobs, if you have other commitments, if you have family requirements, if you cannot actually relocate to the location that they need you to go to, tell them that. Don't string recruiters along in the hopes that oh, maybe they'll offer me the job and then I can just be like, oh, actually I can't go to Peace River. I have to stay in Edmonton, and then they'll still give me the job. Okay, that just makes you look like a dickhead. Again, we don't want to look like dickheads. Don't waste all of your time and all of the recruiter's time going through the whole process just to get to the end to be like, oh, actually, I can't actually move to Calgary. Sorry. Right? Why would you do that? Why would you waste your time? That goes back to researching. If you know the job's in Calgary and you're not willing to move to Calgary, don't fucking apply for that job because you would have done your research and known you'd have to move to Calgary. Okay? Obviously, circumstances may change as you move through the process. You might have been able to move and then all of a sudden your parent gets sick and now you can't move. That's fine. We, as recruiters, we understand that, but be honest and transparent with us about that. When you're in the interview stage, if you now know that you cannot relocate, let us know. Yes, that may end up, we go, sorry, okay, well, we can't keep you in the process then because the requirement is that you relocate for this job. Or they might go, okay, wow, thanks for letting us know. You know what, we're going to keep you in the pool. And if something else comes up in, Edmonton or Lethbridge or wherever it is that you're applying for that you can stay in, maybe then you'll be, kept in the pool. It is better to be transparent and let the recruiters know than to hide that stuff. Again, same with other jobs. If you need time, if you need 30 to 60 days to quit your other job, if you need to give, that much notice, let the recruiters know. Don't leave it until, oh, hey, you need to attend training academy in 2 weeks and then say, oh, shit, sorry, guys. I actually need to give, my previous employer 60 days before I can leave, so I can't actually attend training. What a jerk move that is when the recruiter has gone through all of this work, has saved you a spot in that training class, and now you're basically like, oh, sorry, peace out, can't do it, guys. Okay? Be transparent when you're doing that. Same with family requirements. If you can't do night shift because you have childcare issues, well, first of all, should have known that. Should have done your research before you applied, but share that information. Does it mean that you'll probably not get picked up for the job? Absolutely, because a requirement of most first responder careers is 24/7 availability. But there might be something. There might be a role where they can fit you in temporary until you get, you know, your childcare sorted out, or until you get care for your parents sorted out, or you get, pick up and drop offs for your kids sorted out. Employers at this stage in the game, all first responder agencies are begging for people. They need people. So they are willing to be a little bit more flexible in that. But be honest about it. Be transparent about it. And don't fucking milk it. Don't be the people that go in and they're like, oh, I'm just going to get special exceptions for me because I don't want to work night shift. I have kids, so therefore I'm not going to work night shift. Don't be those people. Those are jerks and nobody wants to work with them, right? Make sure, again, going into it, you're probably going to work 24/7. You're probably going to miss your kids' shit. You're probably going to need to make sure that you have somebody out there, a backup adult that can be pick up and drop off. If you, a lot of times in first responder careers, your shift is supposed to end at 3 o'clock. You do not get to leave at 3 o'clock because you got shit going on. You got calls. You're sitting outside of a fire. Or you're here, right? Like, just because your shift end doesn't mean you get to go home. So you need to have that backup kind of stuff set up as well. That goes back into that being prepared and doing your research on the job, but knowing that. So yeah, tip number 4, honest and transparent, making sure that you're sharing the information that we need to know. Don't lie, don't try and deceive, don't omit. It's going to come back and bite you in the ass every single time. And the last recruiting tip that I have is trust the process. Trust the process. And this can be one of the fucking hardest things to do, is trusting and knowing that it's all going to work out in the end. And that way that it works out in the end might not be the way that you want it to be, but it's the way that it was meant to work out. So it may mean that you aren't successful the first time and you really, really want that job. That is your dream job, and you're not successful the first time you apply. If you've listened to the podcast, you're going to hear multiple times from multiple badass female first responders that they didn't get in the first time. They didn't pass the fitness test the first time. They didn't pass the APCAT the first time. They didn't pass the firefighter test the first time. Did they give up? Fuck no, they didn't. They tried again. They came back. They prepared better. They did their research. They made sure when they came back the second time, they were fucking ready to go. And guess what? Sometimes the second time, you're still not successful. Does that mean you fucking back down? Does that mean you give up? Does that mean you're like, oh, I guess I can't do it? Fuck no. It means you go back again. You come back harder. You try harder. You work harder. You be better. You learn more. You change what you're doing, right? You don't ever give up if this is what you truly want to do. Now, if it's something that you don't really want, if you just kind of threw your fucking hat in the ring for shits and giggles, let's see if this works, and you don't get through, well, it is what it is. The universe is telling you that this is not your time for this role, or that this is, this wasn't your path, and you need to reevaluate. I see this a lot of times with first responders that are already in a career that are looking to transition to a lateral position or a new agency doing the same job, new location, things like that. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. It is what it is. Maybe that's your opportunity to go back and reassess what you're doing in your current role and see, is there a way for me to change what I'm doing here? Is there a way for me to improve what I'm doing here? Is there maybe a tough conversation I need to have with my leadership about how fucking shitty they are, if that's what you're dealing with, or with a really crappy teammate, if they're like the bane of your existence? Yeah, maybe you need to suck it up and have that conversation. Maybe you need to change where you're at right now. That's the universe's way of saying that this isn't the path for you. Listening to the universe, and I will say from personal experience, I did not do that for many years within corrections. I told the universe, no, hold the beer, I got this, I'm going hard, I'm going to come back harder and better and stronger and faster and smarter. And I didn't listen to the universe, but eventually the universe will smack you in the face and say, like, hey, wake up, like, this isn't the path for you, right? So just, again, listen to that guidance. If, you don't get it the first time and you didn't really want it, maybe, again, it's because you didn't really do the research into the job, or you weren't fully prepared. You didn't do all the steps above to get yourself ready for that, that full lengthy process. And it is a lengthy process. The majority of first responder recruitment processes are at least 3 to 6 months. So prepare yourself for that too. If you're applying for a first responder career, you're not starting next week. You're not applying today and starting in a month like you would for, working retail or working customer service or working at a restaurant or a store. It's not like that. It's going to take 3 to 6 months. So if that means you need to organize your life for those 3 to 6 months to make sure you still have income coming in and you're not just sitting there waiting for this job and hoping that it's going to happen, make sure you do that. It's supposed to be hard. I got that question a little while ago from somebody that was doing one of our interview sessions. Is this supposed to be this stressful and this hard to go through the recruiting process, Nikki? And I kind of giggled and I said, yeah, it is. Because again, we're testing you. We're seeing, how do you react under pressure? Are you a person that crumbles and cracks and is like, oh my God, I can't do this, and pulls her application because it's taking too long? Are you the person that's constantly calling, asking for updates, even though we've said, like, yep, you're going to hear in 2 weeks, or, you're going to hear in a month, or check the portal, right? We're watching to see how you react under pressure. When there's Run with the Recruiter for, EPS and Calgary Police, we're watching how you behave in those sessions. We're watching how you're preparing as you're moving through this process. We're watching and observing each of these stages to see what type of person you actually are. There's a reason it takes this long. There's a reason it's this stressful. If you crack under pressure on the recruiting process, let me tell you, you probably are not going to last in this first responder career, because that's the fucking easy part. Like, the recruiting part is the easiest part of this. Then you got to go to the training academy. And again, a lot of people make it through the recruiting process. They don't make it through training academy. That's where they crack. That's where they break. That's where they drop out. So these are just steps in that journey into that career, into that uniform that you're going to eventually wear. So trust that process. Trust that it's taking the time it's supposed to. Trust that if there is a setback, you fail a certain portion of the recruiting process, you bomb that interview, or you fail that AppCat, or you bomb that fitness test, that's part of the process. That's just showing you where you can get better, where you can get stronger, where you can get fitter or faster or smarter. It's just giving you an opportunity to improve yourself. So don't look at it as, oh my God, it's the end of the world. I'm never going to get into this career. I'm never going to do it. I'm never going to be able to be in uniform. I'm never going to get out of this fucking job that I hate right now doing what I do. I'm never going to get it. Those are just minor setbacks. Stay the course. Trust the process. And if you really fucking want it, it will happen. It will happen for you. You have to do that work, though. So those top 5 recruiting tips, I'm going to break them down again. Number 1, do your research. Know if this job is for you, not just the wage, the shifts. Know if this job is for you and why you want to do this specific job. Number 2, have your shit together. Application, certification, resume, cover letter. Make sure you're doing this shit, not your mom, wife, girlfriend, spouse, significant other. And make sure it's ready as a package when you apply. Not that you're picking up little pieces here and there as you go through the application process. When you apply, it should be a full package that you submit all as one, ready to rock. Number 3, be prepared for your interviews. Whatever type of interview you're going into, do your research. Be ready for them. Have your dress and deportment appropriate. Be on time. Make sure you've gone through, you have specific examples stored up, ready to go for when you get into those interviews. Number 4, be honest. Be transparent. If you have other jobs, commitments, family, requirements, location requirements, background, personal disclosure stuff that you need to share, do it. Be honest. Be transparent with recruiters. Cut that pain level down for them and for you at that stage when you've moved that far along in the process. To get deferred at that point sucks. So be honest. Don't fuck that part up. And number 5, trust the process. If you aren't successful the first time, try again. Try again. Try again. Try again. Are you going to get frustrated? Yes. Is it going to suck? Is it going to feel like a punch in the fucking gut every single time you don't get accepted? Absolutely. I've been there. I know how that feels. But you can either let it break you or you can let it make you stronger. So that is your choice. That's on you. If you don't really want the job, then let it go. But if you truly, if this is what you dream about, if this is what you go to bed at night and you think about, I can't wait until I'm in that uniform, I can't wait until I'm doing that job, then you got to stay the course, you got to trust the process, and you got to dig in, and you got to do the work that's going to take to get you there. So those are Mama Nikki's 5 hard recruiting tips. If you have other tips, if you want to share them, you guys can always send me a voice note. You can send us a text in the show notes. There's an option to click send us a text. You can send me a voice note. I will add it into the show. I would love to hear if you have any recruiting tips. If you're a recruiter, or if you had something that happened to you as you move through the process, by all means share that with us. Share it with our listeners. The more tips and tricks that we can give to everybody in these careers, the better. If you are in a career and you're willing to have somebody come on a ride along with you, absolutely fire me off your information. I would love to be able to kind of keep a database of, hey, I know somebody that works here that would love for, somebody to come on a ride along with them. If you have not listened to our other episodes, if you are just finding the podcast now, go back, listen to the episodes. I've got recruiters from Calgary Police, Edmonton Police, the sheriffs, corrections, like you name it, we've had them on here. Edmonton Fire, Calgary Fire, Lethbridge Police, like we've had these females on here. They've shared so much valuable knowledge and tips and tricks as they've moved through the recruiting process and as recruiters, that if there's a specific career you're looking for, if it's fire, if it's police, if it's peace officer, if it's corrections, I guarantee I have an episode for you that's going to give you some insightful information and some tips to get through the recruiting process in the best way. So go back and take a listen. And just share this podcast with your friends, even if they're not wanting to go into a first responder career. Maybe something I've said in these recruiting tips will resonate for a job that they want to apply for. Maybe there's something in here that, somebody if you have a son or a daughter that's in high school, share this podcast. I mean, honestly, give them a heads up that it's R-rated and I swear a lot, but that's okay. They hear worse shit on TikTok all fucking day, so they can listen to it, I'm sure. But share this with them. Let them know what we're looking for as recruiters, to our young adults that are moving up into the ranks. If you're 18 to 25 and your parents haven't told you this stuff, God help us all, but also, this is your place to learn. This is what we expect as recruiters. The people that are recruiting right now, we're in our, late 30s, early 40s, late 40s, early 50s. These are the expectations we have because that's what we grew up into. And so coming in not prepared, not dressed appropriately, not ready for the job that you're about to embark on, it really does not do well for you. It doesn't leave that great first impression that you want when you're doing that job interview or doing that job application. So I hope you guys like this episode. Again, leave me comments, leave me notes, voicemails, texts, etc. I love it. If you haven't filled out our podcast survey, make sure you do that. Chance to win a $50 gift card. Becky won our last one. Looking to get into the sheriffs, which I'm super pumped about. So again, take that opportunity, take that quick, I think it's literally 2 minutes to take the survey, guys. Let me know your thoughts, and we'll go from there. But I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day.
Well, that's it for today, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in, listening, giving me your time, your energy, and your attention. I completely appreciate it. Make sure you check out our next episode with another badass female first responder anywhere you get your favorite podcasts. And follow us on Instagram and Facebook at bluelinefitnesstesting.com. I hope you stay safe, keep your head on a swivel, and watch your six.